What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Finally, we got a new way to get cards in Marvel Snap via the new card acquisition update, Spotlight Caches. They're now live, and we're going to break that all down, as well as 2 nerfs to a meta card and 3 buffs to some cards that definitely needed the help. We got a lot to break down today. Let's get to it. Now, we're going to kick things off today with the new buffed cards, and we start with Nakia, who, in my opinion, is probably the biggest winner of today's patch, a card that virtually got no play. She was a 3-2. They gave +2 power to leftmost cards, and now she's getting an additional power point going to a 3-3, and every single card in your hand is getting +1 power. Now, in terms of dependability, this is a massive change, and I actually think Nakia is going to be somewhat of a meta-relevant card now. That dependability just can't be understated, giving +1 to everyone, rather than hoping they're on the leftmost part of your hand, and then you couldn't really even make decks around that. Cards like Deadpool that desperately want more power before you destroy it, or Human Torch, these things are going to get a lot better with Nakia. As well as something like Swarm, you get even more of that boosted Swarm. Or probably, obviously, the biggest winner, which at this point I feel like we talk about every week, and that's going to be Silver Surfer. Getting Brood with another dependable +1, or for that matter, every single 3-cost card plus Sarah in a Surfer deck. I see Nakia really finding a home in Surfer, but also in other decks that can depend on that nice power. Plus, she's a 3-3 now, which is pretty legit as well. And then not only that, guys, Black Panther, these cards that want the power. Nimrod, it's like a Nova going off in your hand before you play them down, which a lot of these cards are going to want to have. And then you can kind of make a deck that relies on a couple of these conditions, and then depending on what cards got boosted up, you play those down. So this is a really good change. I am going to definitely be playing a lot more Nakia, and I like what they did here. Overall, I think they nailed the change. Back in beta, she used to have this, but it was like +2. It was like way overpowered. But now, +1 feels pretty good. And now you're probably going to see Nakia out there more than, a bot playing her into Death's Domain. Now, altogether, when I say meta relevant, definitely not the best card by any means, but I do think she opens up to a lot more kind of interesting deck crafting. These are going to be the combos I think are going to be best used for Nakia, or cards that you can slot into different decks and take most advantage of the +1 bonus that she'll be giving out to different cards. Again, time will tell with this Nakia change, but I really like it. Let's get to our next buff, and that is one of the most loved characters in Marvel, Gambit. Listen, guys, I've always been a huge fan of Gambit, my entire life. Why we don't have a live-action movie is beyond me. But in Marvel Snap, he's kind of always been a gimmicky card. He didn't really belong in any deck. Silver Surfer, not really. Maybe Mr. Negative or Hela. But Discard became way less reliable, so you didn't put him in there. And for a superhero that utilizes the power of cards, well, in Marvel Snap, he didn't need cards, right? So it was a little weird. He could destroy enemy cards even if your hand was empty. Now, this was more of a gimmicky, cheeky combo. Really didn't see it that much outside of a cool YouTube short. But now they've adjusted this, and they gave him +2 power, taking him from a 3-1 to a 3-3. But now, you need cards in your hand to successfully destroy cards on the opponent's board. However, in turn, if you still want to do the crazy Wong Gambit bombs, you can, as long as you use something like Apocalypse or Swarm. I think this is a great middle ground for more consistency for Gambit. This to me kind of feels like the hood changed not long ago. It's like a buff, but also a nerf. Now, no one, and you can see here, 1.6% popularity was even playing Gambit. I think this is kind of a net positive overall. If you kind of use Gambit more precisely now, and let's say you kill one card worth 2 power, well, now he's at 3-5, and then that can scale up, right? So this is going to be a good card for value, just less cheeky, crazy combos, right? Also, I kind of think it's funny that they did this right before Echo was released. That's going to make Wong more reliable and better. They probably wanted to stop things before it got too crazy. But yeah, overall, man, I think this is a cool change to Gambit. Now, for the last buff, we have another X-Men in Mystique who got a very, and I mean very small buff. Essentially now, if one of the cards that she copied that had an ongoing ability also had an on reveal, which at this point, something like Soulstone or Electro, she in turn is also going to be able to do so. So mainly think Electro, you get that +1 energy. There's not a lot of cards here like the Soulstone. I think they're kind of preparing for consistency and cards coming out in the future. But let's be honest, guys, the biggest buff coming to Mystique this month is probably just this variant coming out. All right, so that's going to conclude the buffs from this patch, which overall, being candid, you know, pretty cool. I think Gambit, Nakia, I like it. We only get one of these a month that can change core abilities, so I think they could have done more, if I'm being honest. I think, like, Strong Guy could have had some love, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being too picky. You guys let me know down below. Let's move to the nerfs, and guys, we have 2 nerfs that are going to be focused on one card this time in High Evolution. Now, obviously, High Evo is a very good card. Great deck. It's a big bad. Pretty much everybody has it. It's one of the most played cards currently in the game within the top 10. And second dinner stance on the card is this. For the last month, they said High Evo has proven itself strong enough to support 3 distinct decks within the metagame. Some are better than others, and none of the 3 are explicitly problematic in ranked play or any of our metrics. Notice they didn't say Conquest, but they still think there's room to improve diversity at the top of the metagame. Pretty much in short, guys, they wanted to shave off some power points of the 2 most played cards, right? One of them I agree with. The other one, I just don't as much. I would have done something maybe a little different. And we start with Wasp. They're going to be taking one of the cards that she can hit with a negative power point away, letting her just hit one card with -1 power. Now, this is largely because of this Lockjaw deck. You're able to get Wasp like 3+ times to just like rain down negative bombs on the opponent. So they're going to kind of dial it back. I don't see this really affecting her play all that much. But now we got to talk about the Hulk. Now, the Hulk has been a massive 20 power bomb most of the time in these High Evo decks. Some people hate it. Some people love that the Hulk has this huge power now. Personally, my beliefs are it was a pretty straightforward card and it kind of could telegraph it pretty easily. But either way, they did make a change to the card. It used to have an ongoing effect. They have now removed that. And instead of getting +2 power for each turn you ended with unspent energy, the Hulk now gets +2 power when you end a turn with unspent energy if he is in your hand or if he's in play. Now, a couple of things to unpack here. First of all, you know, this is going to fix the bug on the last turn of the game. I think he can now gain that +2, which is nice. It's actually going to make it kind of tough to counter at times because you used to be able to calculate how much power he was getting, and now you don't know. You don't know if they were in the hand. You don't know when he came into their hand. I think it's actually going to make it somewhat tougher in terms of just predicting the Hulk's power as a whole. Now, also, in addition to all of this, because of the Hulk losing his ongoing ability, that means Enchantress, Super Scroll, and Rogue won't work against him. But now, in theory, we have cards like Valkyrie and Shadow King that can now kind of limit the Hulk's power. So, something to keep in mind when you do go up against the new Hulk. So we're going to have to see. They did say that these changes are a little harsh and that they're going to adjust it if it feels wrong, which, you know, we know they will. You know, kind of shocked that Bounce did not get any type of nerf. That's definitely way up there in the meta game. You know, not really thinking Kitty needs too much, but maybe Bast. I don't know, but, you know, very interesting changes, and we're going to have to see what comes with our next month or even next OTA where they can adjust some of these changes as well. All right, guys, let's shift gears and talk card acquisition. Spotlight caches are now live. Now, if you want to kind of get caught up on all of that, you can see this video in the top right-hand corner. And this will kind of break down the entire system. As of today, all of your collector caches have been changed to the new system, which has Spotlight caches. And guys, every single 10 of these boxes, we are now going to get a Spotlight cache. Now, if for some reason you didn't update the game yet, on Twitter, someone identified that these are going to be the numbers of the collection system that are Spotlight caches. I think it's every 10, right? So if you haven't, you can open up the other ones. Just avoid these ones, and you can get kind of the max profit from the old and new system. Now, for the very first week of Spotlight caches, we've got ourselves Noel, the new card Jean Grey, Living Tribunal, and of course, you can get a shot at a mystery card. Now, here's the thing, guys. If you already own one of these cards, you'll instead get an exclusive variant, which will look something like this. And I am going to give my overall ratings of not only this week, but all the future weeks in an upcoming video, probably the next one here, so do stay tuned for that. But yep, that's going to be it for Spotlight caches. We're going to have to see how this new system goes. And lastly, guys, we did get a little bit of an update to the shop. And so if you do buy these variants here, every 10 purchases, you will get 2,000 tokens in a premium mystery variant, which means not a pixel. And I do understand that I think this is something that you can stack up. It doesn't have to be within a week, and so that's a nice little new way to get both tokens and mystery variants. And other than that, that's what we got for July's balance patch. Let me know, 1 through 10, your opinion down below. And as always, guys, good luck out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Happy snapping.